Welcome to Rubber City Motoring. Here we go. This is my first time in an electric car, believe it or not. This is my first time in a Tesla. And I already have some opinions because I did drive it already. But I will say, overall, it's different. It's weird. I don't know much about this thing. I kind of went into it blind and I'm just sort of learning it as I go. So as you watch this and you start to judge and be like, what are you talking about? Well, I really don't know, honestly. I don't know what that noise is. Don't know what it's doing. But I'm going to try some things, get into some features, and see if, you know, my life as a gas-powered only driver, a lover of V8s, that whole thing is going to be replaced by this someday. It does do lots of weird things. This is your standard Model 3. Obviously, we're down in Florida here. It's hot. And, I mean, I was Googling things like, how does the AC work in this? You know, there's just weird things you want to know about. So, here we go. Let's get started and kind of do a run-through on this car. I will say it looks alright for a sedan. I don't necessarily dig the aerodynamic wheels, but overall it's definitely different. And it's very, very weird overall. And for you owners that already have this thing, sorry, but it's definitely different for somebody that's not used to it. So here we go. So my first annoyance already with it, there's no key, at least that I know of. This isn't my car. I borrowed this on the Turo app, however you pronounce that. I have this thing. I thought this would unlock it because I locked it from the keypad inside. I walked up with this figuring this is like a proximity key. Nothing. And that's kind of annoying. And I'm also annoyed that there's not just like a lock unlock button on the door itself. Like, I get it, it's trying to put everything on one screen, but so I had to text the owner and be like, hey, can you let me into your car again from the phone? Now I get if it's my car, I'm gonna have a phone connected to it and it's gonna be easy, but that's annoying already. And this thing's a little weird too, where you have to put it in that specific spot. So first gripe, but we'll get into some more stuff here. So now I got it. So what you do is you take this here, there's a camera here. Now we're good to go. And then, of course, can't have a normal door handle. Not that this is that crazy. There we go. How about that? How minimalist is this interior? I've been in cars from the 60s that have more features than this thing. Now bear in mind it's all in that screen right there, which I'll show you here some more stuff in a little bit, but good God, it's simple. And that's good and bad, because you want some controls and some things, which you do have. You've got your normal things there, but my God, this is a weird tinted roof. Very interesting how that works. And inside here, it almost has a weird echo to it, like you feel like you're in a Rubbermaid container or something. So we got the car unlocked, thank God. Here we go. One impressive feature I find is the trunk size. For this little tiny car, it's pretty decent. It's got some extra storage underneath here. Here's my junk. So you put another bag under there. And I mean, you gotta think there's not stuff like gas tanks and things of that nature, but pretty cool. I don't see any weird differences. It's like a car. I mean, you know, it's been around a while, so they've got some stuff figured out here as far as fit and finish and build quality and all that stuff. These door handles, though, are really, I don't want to say annoying, they're just deliberately weird. Back seat, a lot of nice space there. It's just definitely different. You just have to almost like live with it seems like, for a while, just to get used to it. Let's see. I mean, but it's people, I've heard people say it feels cheap inside, and there's that echo again. Whenever I lean in here, I get that echo. The foam, I'd say, has a different feel than what I'm used to, but other than that, it's pretty normal. It's not that crazy. You have some, are those charging ports back there? Oh, they are. I wish I had that up front. Unless there's one hidden I don't know about. All we have up front is that wireless charging pad, which doesn't work well for my Mini. Latch system there for your car seats. That's cool. You got the Tesla branded floor liner, which is pretty clever. But all this stuff looks like, you know, run-of-the-mill stuff. All these connections and different things. Nice stitching there. Pretty cool. Supposed to come out.
I feel like it is.
Yeah, I feel like it did get hot.
From my window.
I just can't believe this. Emissions testing mode. Let's... all this garbage. Light show. Park outside and enjoy the show. Oh, you exit and it does the whole light show outside.
Oh.
And it plays music. Record audio. What's the boombox? Oh, you can play your music outside.
Ew.
Oh, this is for your screen here. Okay. Now the other thing, you can play these on the screen. While parked though, only.
Oh.
It's tutorials. Just look at your camera.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of junk on there.
Karaoke? You do karaoke in the car?
Apparently. That's something. And here's your volume. Now this is interesting. These are, you can open the things with this. Like if you want to open the frunk, you press that. It says it doesn't have a motor up front, so you do that.
So what do you put in there?
So there's the back one. Big trunk.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Here's the front one. I don't know what all these noises are it makes. So let me get right to it. The overall experience with this car is just, it's weird. It's a 24-hour rental. I'm not buying this car. I'm not keeping it long term. It reminds me of when you first get a new tech device and you start figuring it out slowly. Like you learn a feature. Oh, that's neat. Okay, cool. Now I got that. In 24 hours, this just isn't enough with this car. As I stated before, I'm not a fan of the interior experience. I dig certain parts of it. I love the maps. I love the Google Earth looking GPS. I like the fit and finish is nice. I don't know why people complain about that. It's fine. It's just very basic feeling for a $50,000 car. I am in Florida. This roof is, I mean, it's tinted, yes, but man, that sun is just like right on my head right now. I almost wish that wasn't a thing. This isn't even the quickest one. I think this might be one of the slowest ones they sell. And it zips along pretty good. I really want to drive that plaid model or the really quick one because, man, I bet you that's blindingly quick. It is weird, though, too.
In 1 mile, bear right to stay on Villa City Road.
It is weird, though, that there's not like a way, at least that I haven't seen, to completely customize this to be, we'll say, normal. Like, I would really like a gauge that tells me right on there, almost like a gas gauge, but like a, I mean, it has a battery percentage, but it, you know, I'm looking at that and I see it, it just reminds me too much of my phone. I almost wish there was a thing that told me how many miles till empty, like right on the screen, and there very well might be a way to customize all this stuff. I just haven't had enough time with it. For whatever reason, there's no Apple CarPlay, probably because there's too much going on here to integrate. There's no plug-in port to charge my phone, but my iPhone mini here on the charging pad is too little. It doesn't pick it up and wirelessly charge it very easily. I dislike this thing. Is cool it's very chintzy, very cheap for the price of the car. I mean, once again, I get the phone integration end of it, but I just think that's weird if that's the norm. I don't know, maybe that's just a rental thing, but that's weird to me. I actually really enjoyed the charging experience, which I'll cut here in a second. It was quick, it was easy. It's easier than putting gas in your car if you think about it. It's just more like the worry of it, the charges, the fees. You don't know what it's going to cost. Allegedly with this and this owner, supercharging is free, which was cool. You know, you almost want like that. They advertise, everybody pushes the maximum charging you can get. And I don't know if you're going to get that every time. So this is a first for me as well. I just happened to find this on my drive to the house here. Everything's pretty obvious here what we're looking at. Now, everything I do on this car is a complete like learning curve for me, and this is so weird. I was just curious. So I plugged it in here. I'm gonna see what happens after a few minutes. I was at 86%, now I'm at 87%. The owner of the car says it is completely free, at least in this situation, to do this supercharging. I guess these are supercharger stations. I don't even know. But it's super easy. You just pop this little thing open and then do that. That's it. There's one way to plug it in and that's it. And we're already up to 88%. Now I will show you. This is the whole deal here. 88% current session. Supercharging tips. Find the fastest supercharger filter. Navigate to the supercharger battery will precondition for a faster charger. I guess if you arrive with a lower charge, it goes faster. Leave space. Oh, because they share a port. So we're up to 89. Battery temperature low. Charging rate limited by low battery temperature. Pretty clever. And then up here, it's literally like looking at your phone. It is so weird. Now it is kind of late. It's 11:30 out here. It's like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. You did say you could share a port. There's lots of noise coming out of this thing. It's heating up the batteries or something. It's very clever. We're up to 91%. Still 15 minutes remaining. 92% now. So I just wanted to try it out. I'm not worried about a full charge here. I was just curious what how this worked. Let's see. So there's a button there. Right on there. That released it. And we just take, this is heavy. It's a heavy gauge cord, and then it just goes up in there like that. And oh, I missed it. The battery door just closed itself. That's pretty clever. And now we're on our way. So, very interesting little piece of this. I know it shouldn't be. I get that. I get that this shouldn't be that exciting, but it is to me because I'm a first timer here. Yeah, so we just charged a little bit. That's my first time ever charging an electric car. Let's get out of here and see what's next in this thing. Stick with me on this video. This is interesting to me, and maybe you're learning along with me. I don't really know. I feel like I'd rather be driving that thing. Let me talk to you a little bit about the driving experience. Now, to me, being my first time in an electric car, obviously it's quiet. I do find it weird. I don't like a little stalk to put it in drive, reverse. I've never liked that on any car. Mercedes, anybody that does that, that's weird to me. I like something that's a little more whatever. So we put it in drive, it's in drive. If you put it in reverse, any of the cameras on this, I notice, amazingly clear quality. I love that. You know, we're at the point now where we don't need cheap, chintzy reverse cameras in cars. I love the quality of that camera. As far as like driving, the feel, it does this thing where, and I'm sure there's a reason, you can comment below if you know why. It does this thing where if I go and I get it up to, I'm up to 12 now, and I let off, it almost automatically brakes itself. It doesn't, I don't use the brake pedal at all. Like, it brings itself to a stop. Like, it doesn't coast, if that makes sense. And there's this little gauge on here that's showing
In
like
1,000 feet, turn right to stay on Lake Emma Road.
There's this little gauge that's showing your I don't say like your yaw, your pedal position almost. Like, so if I go, it goes far to the right, and if I'm stopping, it brings it back down. I assume that's regenerating the batteries a little bit somehow, but it's just weird. Like, it doesn't coast like a normal car, if that makes sense. Acceleration is pretty cool. Like I said, it's zippy, it's quick. It's not as quick as their fastest ones they sell, which I can't even imagine doing that. And as I do this, I'm killing the battery every time just trying things, but it's just different. It's a different feel overall. I've said it twice and I'll say it a third time. This car has a weird echoey feel inside of it. I don't know what that is. I don't know if there's some sort of noise cancellation going on or what. Definitely different. One thing I really wish Tesla would do, and this is almost every electric car, my gripe with them, is let me spec it how I want it. I don't want this car to have a heated steering wheel. I don't want it to have all the garbage on it, like the sound effects and all that stuff, which is very fun. But it is just to the point where it's like, if I just want to get into an electric car just to have it be electric as opposed to gas, I don't want the extra garbage with it. It's just like an annoyance to me. Like, I almost like the Chevy Bolt because it's a simple thing. There's not as much going on, and I get Tesla's trying to make their identity and all that, but it's just a lot going on with this thing, and some of it's necessary for sure, but at the same time, it's like, can you just dumb one down just to sell a ton? Like, is that possible? Is that what they're going for? Could they go for that? I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff on here I look at as just like, kind of makes me almost be like, that's where my money's going, and I don't want it to go towards that. Like, I'd rather have it go towards, you know, in my pocket instead of paying for a whole light show on the exterior of the car, or speakers on the exterior of the car to do things, or this glass roof. Make it metal and save me $1,000. But I don't think you really can with this stuff. They sort of make it exactly how it is, and that's that, which that's sort of where cars have been for a while now. Packages are a thing, and that, but that's kind of a turnoff for me on certain parts of this car. Just too much going on where I just want to drive an electric car. I don't want to deal with all that other stuff. So let me wrap up here, because I know I can get rambling on these things. I'm sorry. Before I do though, subscribe. If you like this video, let me know. Like it, comment below. I'm just curious, if you have a Tesla, let me know what you think about it. I have a feeling, and I've gathered this from many Tesla owners, they love them. There's not a thing about them they hate. They're very diehard, passionate fans, which is awesome. I'm glad it exists. I think it's super cool. Like, I'm almost to the point, like I have 5, 6, 7 cars that I would love to have a stable of cars, just like, and this would be one of them, a Tesla, maybe not the 3, but one of them, just for the sheer fact of what you can do with it. It's like another option. But overall, if I was buying a car and I wanted one car, I don't think I'd buy this one. I might consider another Tesla model if I had a shorter commute, or if I could charge at work, something like that. But having this as a primary, I personally, I wouldn't want it based on a number of reasons. One being, like, if I want to take a road trip, this would be kind of a pain. And I know the map will tell you where to charge. I know it'll do all that stuff, but like, it's still not there for me yet. And honestly, comparing this to my Corvette, I'd rather drive the Corvette. I don't know why. I just would. I'm still not checked out on gas engines yet in shifting my own gears and stuff. I think that's more fun. This just feels like a sterile driving experience. It's not that exciting. Not that it has to be. It's just clean inside. It's basic, and that's almost not for me yet. But it's still cool. It's a neat car. I can't knock it. It's just not for me. It might be for you or somebody else, but it's definitely different. and I just can't put my finger on it. It's just different. It's not necessarily what I expected. I will say though, and I had this experience with my Subaru, the STI. I'm always amazed when people really, really love a car that they've never driven. I've heard a lot of people say they really want a Tesla. They're going to save up for one. It's their dream car. And I'm guessing they've never driven one. Maybe that difference is what is going to make them really like it. Like you get in this and you're like, wow, completely different experience. It's something I've never done before and never expected. But I'm almost amazed that people, this just feels like you're driving a very simple appliance, more so than a Camry or a Corolla. And I guess that's good, but at the same time, it's definitely not something to put it short and to the point, I don't see myself picking one of these to rent again unless it's the performance one, unless it's something that's like, ooh, that's a really neat Tesla, that's cool. But the 3, for 50 grand, I don't know. I feel like I can get a lot of other cool things that are a lot more fun than this thing. But that's me. This reminds me of all the little gimmicky features, the fireplace, the movie streaming, the sound effects, all that. It reminds me of when iPhones first came out. You remember that? Everybody had a couple apps that they just like pulled out and they showed everybody. Like I had one that looked like a koi pond, and you'd touch it and the fish would move away and the rocks would, you could do the whole thing. You could feed them, and that was just fun to show people and be like, look what you can do. It's a touch screen. I feel like these cars have those kind of features, which they're fun to see and hear about. Like you'll watch a Instagram, story about it, or you'll see somebody will show you it when they first get their car. Oh, look, I can turn a fireplace on my dashboard and sit here like this. But then I feel like it kind of fades away, and then it's not the point anymore. And maybe they're doing that to get people in the door, to try it out, to buy the car. But like those gimmicky features are fun, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to sit there and put your fireplace on like every other day. I don't think you are, unless you get new people in your car all the time. So I thought that was kind of almost like a comparison in my brain that sort of rang true. I thought it was fun at first, and then as I'm messing with it, I go, I'm never going to do this again. This thing is pretty zippy though. I mean, I wanted to show a little bit of acceleration. Here's a 60 roll, and we're in a 55, so I'm not going to go too crazy here. It climbs pretty quick. And then there's that deceleration. It just really doesn't coast, and I swear that's on purpose, but I don't know. I almost need to read about how this thing works as far as the drivetrain goes. This is only the rear-wheel drive model, so it's not dual motor or anything, but it is weird looking right here, and let me try to get this out, and there's nothing. I know it's right there, but I wish there was just something right here somehow, because that little readout is weird, in my opinion at least.
Now turn right onto North Hancock Road.
Hancock? It's Herbie Hancock. I'm not up to date on the hands-free stuff, but it's very similar to our Kia in that you can't take your hands off the wheel. I mean, you can, and it figures it out. Like it'll make this little turn here. I do really dig this system here that is smart enough to know that I'm following a truck, and it puts a truck on there. It notices trash cans, it notices cones, it notices this is an SUV here. That's a truck with a trailer. It didn't find the trailer, but it did find the truck. That's pretty cool. Oh, now it thinks it's a semi with a truck with it. That's funny. But it's an interesting system. It's very, and then there it's flashing blue telling you to put force on the steering wheel. It's interesting. It's definitely like you almost want to play with this car more than drive it, and that's kind of dangerous. Now here's a truck, and then this thing it thinks, oh boy, this thing it thinks it is a semi, which it kind of is, I guess. But yeah. That's kind of interesting. I really like that map setup though. I love that big screen right there with that, at least. That's cool.